We have episode 83. We got Wendy Jones.
Happy to be here.
And the episode starts right now. Oh boy, it's almost starting to feel normal, Wendy.
We're getting there.
Almost starting to feel normal.
We're in person.
That's right. Let's switch that like that. Yeah, man. How you doing?
I'm good. Happy to be here and not doing this on Zoom. So
I tried to freeze this overnight.
I really want to know what's in there.
Oh, I can't. No, we can't be drinking.
No.
Can't be drinking in here.
No.
So, no.
It's looking pretty interesting. Making my water look boring.
Oh my God. So last time we talked, God, I think I was in a really, really bad place. And the pandemic hit. You know, I mean, my little club thing, I was having some issues with my club thing. Like me and Duran were chill now, but we were kind of on timeout back then.
Okay.
Indoor club, I think I got called off. I had so many color commentating gigs and this and that, and then I was just like, can someone help me understand this? Somebody please help me understand this. And then who shows up? Every time I'm like, the world's falling apart and I look up, I say to myself, I'm like, can somebody please help me put this in perspective or just see it? Is there a brighter side? Is there a light at the end of the tunnel? And then all of a sudden, Wendy Jones!
That's the intro. I always hear, I can hear it it's usually in front of Starbucks, or from the Strand watching volleyball, which we're always both doing. So, but I really appreciate that perspective because I've been thinking a lot about the difference between leadership and unity and like how do leaders bring together people, because there's a lot of division out there right now. And so when you called me the other day and said you want to talk about some of this stuff, I was like, yeah, I'm in.
Well, we got a lot of stuff on our mind. I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff I want to talk about too, because you as an active volleyball player and the Optimists Journal's taking more of that volleyball direction right now. Wendy Jones, people, she is the founder of the Optimist Journal, and I mean maybe we'll do that at the end because we talk about the Optimist Journal, what it's about. But for the new guests, I have to remind people.
For sure.
But the two biggest issues I think we had, one was, and this has been bugging a lot of parents and coaches, players, commentators, entitlement culture, right?
Yeah.
Not to be confused with entitlement spending, okay? Because depending on which party you're with, entitlement spending can mean an entirely different thing, right?
Totally.
So I mean, right? Because entitlement spending can be Social Security for the old. It could be, people unemployment benefits, which by the way we pay into. So that's so stupid. Or I don't know, maybe Amazon pays zero tax. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, there are different kinds of entitlement, and I'm not going to get into that. But I will say that I wish people were more consistent across the board with that, right?
Agreed.
I mean, honestly, watching someone broke defend billionaires who don't have to pay tax has to be the worst case of Stockholm syndrome you will ever witness. But we're talking about entitlement culture in sports.
Yeah. So I wrote a blog on this. I want to say it was about 3 weeks ago after I watched Varsity Blues. Not the movie from the 90s, but the new Netflix documentary on the college admission scandal. It knocked my socks off. Wow. I followed that story while it was going on, but I'm not a huge news junkie because I think it is not good for your mental health. So I watched that documentary, and the concept of entitlement culture was just so at the forefront that I don't understand how people come up with plans like this, first of all. I mean, who thinks you can pay your kids way into college? But then where's the power structure that is taking the money? And what I was so amazed by was that, the parents should get in trouble. For the most part, I don't think these kids know what was going on. Didn't seem like they did in the documentary. Rick Singer, the guy who was masterminded this thing, I don't understand how people sleep at night. Okay? Like, it blew my mind. But what really bothered me was these huge universities with these massive endowments and such prestige they've created this, they're allowing the side door to happen, right? And in the movie, in the documentary, not much was said about what happened to the university.
Hold on, wait a second. What document? We're in the South Bay for everybody listening. So I know the story. I know about Singer. I know about people saying that this person's being recruited by. Basically, the scandal is, for everybody listening, for the people who already know, obvious is obvious. Sorry to interrupt because I'm going to give the floor back. Basically, it's about X amount of kids getting recruited to play a sport to up their chances of getting accepted into a university in which they would otherwise not be accepted in.
Right. And
So
in many cases,
this kid's on the soccer, she's on a soccer or whatever, not a scholarship, but she made the soccer team.
Right.
And then, the parents, they're going to take care of the rest. So basically, there was a scandal where this guy, Singer, was accepting money from parents that actually financed this operation.
So the check comes from the parents to Singer. Singer makes the donation
Brokers the deal,
to the university, and it's called the side door. So it's a guaranteed admittance to prestigious universities. In some cases, these kids were they didn't even play the sport that they were getting a walk-on spot for. I mean, how do you come up with this? Like, how do you come up with this? It never would have occurred to me as a parent that I had any ability to get my child into a college. It blew my mind. But what really bothered me was that there were no repercussions for the universities. And Stanford, where my son's playing volleyball, and USC, those are the two that looked really bad in the documentary. And really...
What's the documentary called again?
It's called Varsity Blues, the college admission scandal.
On Netflix?
On Netflix.
I don't even have Netflix now. Come on.
Have to see it.
This is how these people get my money, man.
I know, but man, they're producing some great stuff because it was real. And the FBI wiretaps, I mean the way that they produced it, like it was very legit. So,
Catherine Miskowski, friend of mine, very much like you, volleyball power mom.
Yeah, I know her.
She's got a daughter going to UCLA.
Yeah.
Natalie.
Yeah.
Already has a daughter at USC playing for Dane Blanton.
Yep.
Beach volleyball, women's beach volleyball, the SAM program. So that's respectively ranked 1 and 2 or 1 and 3. I mean, LSU's a problem, so I can't call USC and UCLA 1 and 2 anymore without acknowledging the presence of Kristen Nussing and Taryn Cloth. And big up Russell Brock, man, doing good things out there. But Catherine told me, this is I think a year and a half ago when this whole thing
came
when
down
it was time to pay the piper.
Yeah.
She said, Jason, she got the transcripts, right? Like the transcripts of the taps.
Yeah.
And she said, Jason, it reads like a novel.
That's how the documentary, I was glued. I don't watch TV.
Okay.
And I was glued. So, yeah.
And we're like, someday there's going to be a documentary about this.
Netflix did it justice.
So when you brought up entitlement culture, I was thinking more about...
Well, that was my segue.
Yes.
So I wrote this blog.
Please.
The concept of entitlement culture and what do we think actually matters, right? When we're raising these kids and we're trying to create, like for me, the lens of the Optimist Journal is so much like the game of life because I've learned so much through sports about how to conduct myself in life. I mean, the lessons that you learn, it's wherever you're spending the most amount of time. And these kids are spending a ton of time on their sport, right? So what are they getting besides overuse injuries and stressed out and all this stuff? If you're with a good coach, in a good program, you're getting life lessons, right? And part of it trickled into Stanford cutting their program and me looking at this going, wait a second, how does this university get to act like this? And then, cut a program of this is the kids, this is their spot to where they've learned how to lead. And then you cut their legs out from under them. But really just the concept that what we expect, like around, maybe it's around here where we live. I think it's a bigger cultural issue. Kids expect a lot to just come to them these days. Like that you don't have to work for where you've gotten. And what they don't realize is in generations past, people were putting in a lot of work. You don't just show up and you're good, right? I mean, a lot of times you show up and you suck and you got to stay with it. And hopefully you have a coach who sees a little something in you and knows how to pull on those strengths and create something. But we have so many problems now where, good coaches don't want to coach because kids are not coachable. Parents don't think that their kids could possibly act like that, or we're looking to save our kids and not let them fail. We want that everyone gets a trophy mentality, and it does nobody any good, right? I mean, I'm all for the 7-year-olds getting to play soccer and everybody plays, but by the time you get to, a high level club team or a Division I program, you better know how to show up and carry your own weight and be a good teammate, not be just the star, but know how to support the people around you. And I think in a lot of ways, we're not doing that. We don't have a culture that is driving that forward.
I couldn't agree more. You're probably going to get a slew of amens and here's on this by parents who pretty much echo your sentiment as far as getting out there and actually doing it. And me, I'm like a centrist in almost everything we do. And I think I lean more towards your side of the middle. If you call me a centrist in this at all, in any case, Wendy, it's more about like somewhere between having one trophy just for one person who's the best player out of the bunch of them. That's one side, right? And then the other side, you have, everybody showed up.
Yeah.
So everyone should get the same trophy, same size, same look, whatever, and this and that, which offends the very core being of anyone who's competitive or wants or thinks someone deserves recognition for a certain achievement. So somewhere between that and that is where I'm like, all right, there's a first place trophy. There's to me, maybe there's an inspirational player trophy.
Oh, for sure.
Right? There's someone who's
you can lead from the bench.
It's not the dog in the fight, it's the fight in the dog, this and that. And I think that kind of kid should be recognized too. But I don't call that a participation trophy. I call that participation is showing up and being there. Like this, someone who's not as good as the rest, but balling out. I think there should be a trophy for someone like that. And only someone like that. Not him and the guy sitting next to him. Not him and the ex-girlfriend who probably said you should try out for this team or whatever. No, she don't get one. She don't get one too, man. I mean, good Lord. So I usually have a lot to say about everything, but I'm almost speechless.
Well,
how anyone can think that this is okay.
Yeah,
I'm bumbling over my own words, trying to compartmentalize and ask how anyone can think that everybody that shows up should get a trophy is okay. How is that okay? It's not okay.
Yeah, it takes away the spirit of competition, which most people that participate in sports have a very competitive spirit, right? Mm-hmm. But the truth is that we've gotten away from all of the layers of self-awareness and development that come through playing whatever sport we choose. For us, it's volleyball, right? That's the lens. If you're going to spend this much time playing volleyball, you're going to come into contact with people that are going through stuff it's not just what's going on the court. It's the best coaches understand that there's so much going on behind the scenes, and the best players understand that somebody's struggling with something else. And then they have that self-awareness and that compassion rather than the judgment and the need to protect themselves to be the better player and lift someone up around them. And those are the best teams. You can have 6 guys on the court that are all superstars, but that doesn't mean they're gonna win. And that's what I loved about watching Luke's club team was, those guys won 2 national championships and I never saw them get down on each other.
Right.
And
a true team sport too.
Yeah,
man.
exactly. And then you go to beach volleyball, there's only 2 people on the court. So if you're not lifting that other person up, you've seen it come apart, right? You can see it in their eyes, and it can at any level, juniors all the way up to the pros. You know that you've always got to be the one. When you learn that you don't need to protect yourself, you need to be the one that's strong enough to see the beauty in somebody else and lift them up. And then you become better too.
No doubt.
Right?
No doubt. For me, well, it's strange. It's good that you brought up both beach volleyball and indoor volleyball, right? I mean, let's do a little bit of separation, and I'll rinse and repair on beach volleyball in a minute. Beach volleyball is no bench on the beach, right? So there is no you don't see the entitlement thing happen that much on the beach as you do indoor. Indoor boys, parents pay a lot of money. Maybe the parents have certain connections and this and that, where a coach giving a certain kid more playing time is beneficial to the program, and of course the kid's the ultimate beneficiary of it. But the problem I have with indoor club is, someone posted one time, every parent thinks their kid's the best player on the team.
For sure.
Which is not true, but I think in order for us to talk about it, you need someone to make a statement as extreme as that to bring everybody to that side so we can have a conversation. Yeah. It's not factual, but it is close to a fact as an opinion's going to be. Yeah. Every freaking parent. I coach Evolution. I'm a 5th-year coach. Duncan Avery, God bless you. South Bay kids. Absolutely. Kids out of Redondo, kids out of South. Yeah. Sometimes, I have a bad year. This is talent-wise, this is not one of my best years, but that's when I actually put in the most work. Yeah. Duncan's like, I got bad news. He's like, this team is not as good as like the other whatever. And this and that. I'm like, so what's the bad news? And I sound like I'm outing those players, but I'm not outing those players. They know they're not as talented as the previous teams, and probably the least talented age group or whatever. But I guess I was doing too good. Duncan thought he had to throw in some shit, man.
You thought you were up for the challenge, and the truth is, every kid has strengths, right? Yes. So a good coach is always playing to the strengths. You're not, and when you play to the strengths, the weaknesses start to come up too. Yep. Right.
So this is a piece of advice I'm going to give everybody who coaches indoor club. This is for anyone listening. If I don't care if I share this with Volley Chat, volleyball coaches and trainers, or child apprentice for fucking volleyball. Listen to me. Where am I? Hear me with both ears. Your kid wants more playing time. Performance and practice saves his soul. Performance showing. A kid wants to jump serve. He doesn't want to be subbed out of the back row. Show me in practice you can hit a jump serve consecutively. You want to be you want to start more as an outside hitter, as a OH1, OH2. Show me. If you're not the best, a better offensive player, show me you're the best passer on the court. Yeah. Show me that your serve receive rivals the libero, right? Yeah. You want to play outside, but you're not as good as a passer. Show me that you are the second best offensive player in the OH position. Mm-hmm. Show me these things in practice. You get to show me in the game. So parents. Every parent that has had a problem with me with playing time, and every year there's one parent that pulls a kid from the team. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I played for Evolution just so my kid could get more playing time. Yeah. I play with SCVC, and they said, no, that's not how it works with me. I mean, and thank God I got Duncan backing me on this. He always has his coach's back unless I punch a kid in the mouth. But show me in practice, you get to show me in the game. And I can't believe I'm having this conversation with some of you club coaches. I understand some of you guys just got out of college and you want to coach a little bit and you're doing this part-time, and eventually they're going to groom you for an assistant coaching position where you graduate, and eventually you're going to become a head coach and be an okay mechanic in a room full of Ferraris, okay? Or you could listen to me. You could have turn some Ford Pintos into Tauruses. Put some real work in. And it starts in practice. It starts, especially with boys volleyball. Because boys volleyball, the psychology is power through performance. Mm-hmm. Women's girls is more power through fellowship, through sisterhood. Everybody pulls for each other. Men is more of a leadership thing, which even pisses me more off with the participation.
That's what got me thinking about leadership and unity, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, they go hand in hand. If you can't unify people, then you're not really a leader.
Right.
People want to put the best player on the court and say he's the leader. Well, if he's not pulling up the guys around him, then he's not really a leader.
This is, man, I do not like that this camera is arbitrarily being blurry, but I don't care. This is a podcast. So, right? Yes. Audio. But, and as long as that sounds good. Yeah. But yeah, I think for indoor volleyball, and for everybody that just heard the sound of my voice on this very, very simple solution, which at the end, the parents, I mean, again, if the parents had their mind made up, then at that point, there's not a whole lot to be done.
Well, and you know what it comes down to, though, is those moments, and you have a little one, she's going to get bigger. The moments when your kid is hurting, you do want to punch somebody. It's having the wherewithal to sit in a moment and go, God, this sucks. My kid's having a crappy game, or he didn't start, or he thought he was going to play and he didn't. Like, that, it hurts. As a parent, it hurts. But how do you separate yourself from their journey and go, you know what, they're going to learn something, and then give them the tools to advocate for themselves, to find out how to be that kid that shows up at practice. Like, encourage them to go talk to the coach, you know, and say, what can I do if they're unhappy with something? Don't jump to their defense so fast because something's hurting you. You got to be able to sit there and go, God, okay, I'm just going to have to suck it up. And I hate watching my kid hurt, but it's part of the program. That's what they're learning, you know? And if they don't learn it in sports when they're younger, life's going to beat them up.
I think Joe Rogan put it best. He had Dan Crenshaw on his podcast, the big old Republican space ranger who, as much as I disagree with him, the respect I have for this man is profound. You know,
You have to look that up.
Yeah, he's guy from Texas.
Okay.
You know, he's got those old school like Republican value, what they perceive. You know, there's value in hard work. There's value in
I agree.
being in almost a perpetual state of discomfort. All, you know, like not. I mean, there are people that they don't feel like that way. If they don't feel that way all the time, they're not productive.
Yes, and that is something I've learned. I actually just put a post up about that this morning.
And I'm in the middle on that one too. I think in order to make an omelet, man, you got to break some eggs, man. You have to be in a not maybe not a perpetual state or a residual state of discomfort and pain and inconvenience, not all the time, but I think to get what you want, you have to do that. I think for the people that feel like you shouldn't be that way all the time, you're not wrong either, because if you have an escapism that allows you to escape, and then you release all that stuff and allows you to come back.
Absolutely.
To
recovery,
to your current state or whatever.
Recovery is part of the grind.
100%. Yeah. So, really, really, really good. Crenshaw is he believes that the whole country is not really. He says there's the QAnon nutballs you can't do nothing about. He says there's extreme progressives. There's no apt solution for them ever, you know, for whatever and this and that. He says there are liberals and there are conservatives that there's so much more that they have in common than what they have that separates them. Yeah. Where, all right, we disagree on this, but let's work on this, right? I mean, think about it. Does a liberal or conservative, do both of them want good health care for themselves and for their family? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, the right wingers, they don't want you to have help. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Go shut the front door.
Who's happy paying $1,000 a month for crappy health insurance? I'm with you. And then but you got to have the nerve to look at where the problem's really coming from.
Right.
Right. And a lot of times people aren't willing to look at that. They want to blame this power. You know, the power structure is all about just blocking someone else's power now. Going back to the unity theme. Mm-hmm. There's no unity. There's no let's sit down and listen to each other. It's all about me defending my position and blocking yours. Right? Yeah. So
which is caused by two small groups of people who have just enough people in their gang to make it look like they represent a larger group than what they really are.
Yeah.
Are they big? Yeah. All right. What happened January 6th?
They're loud.
What happened January 6th? I'm not saying all of those people are Republican, but there were enough people in a crowd to stir up the pot to stir up Republicans. Mm-hmm. The riots that happened last summer. This week we could talk about what happened this week, because that wasn't rioting. That was peaceful protesting during the day, and then when the curfew hit, there were a bunch of people that didn't want to go home, and they were unruly, but nobody, no one got their house broken into, or no one, this. So, I mean, if anyone calls that a riot, clearly you need to watch some documentaries. But people think that those are in large people that voted Democrat. They're not wrong. There is a large group of people that did vote Democrat, assuming a lot of those people that were out there even vote. The people that were violent, but started by a small group that was big enough to stir the pot of civil unrest.
Yeah.
You know, on a personal note, I mean, I'll leave this alone. I think there's a difference between anger spilling over about people of our Americans like us who don't look like us. Frustration and anger spilling over where someone does something wrong, they die for it. Where someone else does something wrong, they don't die from it.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
and the whole notion, that somehow compares to people who thought that there was enough voter fraud. There were seven, that Biden won by 7 million votes. That it was fake, that it was rigged. I mean, those are two different forms of anger. I don't like lumping them. I'm not comfortable lumping them in the same category.
Yeah.
There's a level of anger and frustration, I understand, that spills over, but that's crazy. That's not, I mean, one is a real thing.
Well, fundamentally, people need to feel safe to be able to advance society, right? Yeah. I mean, we can't be walking around in a state of fight or flight all the time. And I will come back to, like, that is how people are right now.
Yeah.
You can feel...
Keep going. I want to fix that light behind me.
Okay. You can feel in any conversation almost right now that people are ready to jump down each other's throats and defend their own position. And what I keep coming back to is that everybody's got a story in their life that dictates where their perspective's coming from. And if we're not willing to listen to each other's perspectives, then we're not going to get anywhere.
No, I mean, every single issue, every hot button issue where these two gangs are forcing people to go completely one way or the other.
Yeah.
Wake up, people. These issues, all of us want the same thing. We just talked about healthcare, right?
Yeah.
Gun violence, right? Don't give me the most zealot gun nut.
No.
Don't give me the one who doesn't want guns at all in the United States. Give me the one who, the majority of the people, who enjoy guns for recreation, or who need a gun for they feel they need a gun for personal protection. That's the majority of the country.
Right.
Do we all want gun safety? Yes. Do we want kids not shoot up schools? Yes. We all want the same thing. So the what? You got these two gangs changing the what? Yeah. No, the what is what is the same as far as what we want. We all want gun safety. Yes. We all want the how. Is what I think we need to put our heads together and figure out the how. But what happens is, if someone changes what you're supposed to think the what is, then the how is fruit from a poisonous tree. Yeah. The solution to something that's not the real problem is fruit from a poisonous tree.
Yeah. So often we're dealing with the symptom of a problem, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why I always keep trying to go back down to the root cause. I wrote about that in my blog last weekend, and I came up with that because you find interesting people in volleyball on the beach that have crazy life stories, that have been working like in corporate America, that are really, really smart. And I was chatting with a coach last week, and he's like, "Oh, well, I'm a root cause guy." And I looked at him like, "What's that mean?" And he's like, "You got to figure out the base of the problem." And I was like, that's okay. I'm a root cause guy too, because underneath all of the layers of people fighting are insecurities, are lack of self-awareness, are all of these things, protecting of your ego, because you're so afraid to be wrong and fail that you're not willing to hear somebody else out. And whether that's you're not willing to look at your teammate as being better than you, or whether you're talking about something like healthcare, if you always think you're right, you're wrong.
I gotta caption this. I gotta quote myself. The how is fruit from a poisonous tree if you don't understand the what. Yeah. Give me the most avid responsible gun owner or whatever, what have you. Give me the gun person who thinks everyone should own a gun, and they don't want their senile grandmother right? Who thinks that street lights are aliens? Okay, I think we're gonna
Take
keep,
that away.
we're gonna keep that gun. We're gonna maybe, maybe I'll lock it up here while she's staying with me.
Right.
I'm so. If the what is responsible gun owner, then there has to be a clear-cut definition of what a responsible gun owner is.
Yeah.
All right.
Or, but you also get K Street involved, and you're not dealing with people. You're dealing with money, right?
Yeah.
So when you bring in the NRA and you're looking for a perspective that is middle of the road, like I am not in favor. Like you see some of these tragedies, and you go, why does that gun need to exist? Now I have a family that's had my dad collected guns. I knew he had a gun in the house. He didn't particularly love to hunt, but he did some, and you see that growing up, but you always had a respect for it. I never wanted to be around a gun. I've been to a shooting range now. I did not like that feeling. I don't want to be in charge of that.
No.
Right? And I do think, people need to be trained. If you're going to have that, you need to be trained. And so being that I didn't enjoy doing that, I tell my kid, my son will ask me, why do you have a gun? And I'm like, I'm not trained to have a gun.
No. How many guns did you have?
How many? I don't know. Well, he had antiques like hanging on the wall in his office. Like he would collect, all the way back to Civil War type stuff.
He ain't going to shoot it, right?
He's not going to shoot it, but he's a rancher. So, they have guns out at the ranch. My son was shooting a BB gun the other day, but he's taken my kids out and shot a .22. But we're out in the country. He knows how to use them. He is training them. That, I don't have, you have to teach the respect, like with anything else.
Absolutely.
Right? I particularly, besides a BB gun, don't really ever want to hold a gun again. I did not enjoy it.
But I think an average rural family probably has 3. I think they have a gun or a rifle or a shotgun that's a collector's item.
Yeah.
All right, I like it. I wanted it. It's cool to have.
Yeah.
They probably have a shotgun
for
personal protection, and they probably maybe some have a rifle for this and that. Me growing up in New York City, in Brooklyn, New York. I'm not an urban guy. I'm not a rural guy.
You're a city guy.
I still am. Always have been. Always will be. We had 3. We had one. We had a 1918 model of 30-06 on World War I. My father had the good old fashioned Clint Eastwood, the revolver. I think it was a Colt or something like that.
Yeah.
Oof, man, that thing.
Talk
about kickback.
Everything.
Every reason that you talked about, like
I did not like that
being
feeling.
comfortable firing that thing just blows you back. And when I was 15, he bought me a .22 rifle, which is
that's what I've shot.
Like little to no kickback. It's really a weapon for kids. I mean, and everyone's like, weapon for kids? What are you talking about, Jason? I'm like, no, look, there are certain parents that are like, they would rather have their kids understand guns.
Well, you learn a healthy respect.
And know that this is not a toy, right? I mean, we do with everything else in our house. Look, that's my laptop. That's not a toy, right? That's not a toy. You're the first one to tell your kid that's not a toy with everything else. And so, to me, if the what is responsible gun owner, the how,
then we can get to
yeah, because at the end of the day, I think the left has to concede that. I think for the people, ultra progressives who want to ban guns outright is not the solution, because it's not going to stop people who want a gun,
who won't commit follow a crime. The rules, right?
Yeah. And then, first of all, they're going to have guns regardless. People who don't follow the rules, they're always going to have guns, because we as a nation are still selling those people weapons. The cartel from 2006, I don't know if that's diminished or if the gig is up, but from 2006 all the way to the present, not all the way, close to the present, we've been selling weapons to the Mexican cartel, because we were trying to figure out where they were getting their guns. So we figured if we sold them guns, we would know who their competitors are. So the operation was called Gun Runner. It was under the Bush administration in 2006. Gun Walker or Gun Runner. I'm on Wikipedia. And what happened was it got found out the gig was up. Bunch of rogue, they called them rogue federal agents and this and that, and they shut it down. But then what happened? It was renamed Operation Fast and Furious under the Obama administration. So, and it just kept on. It just kept on happening. So
going down back to root cause. Okay, there are people that believe in. I mean, you get the higher up you get, you'll get more brash people who don't think they have to follow all the rules, right? And I mean, I hate to say it, but people do it all the way up, and then they get up in the morning and they give a speech on TV and they can look everyone in the eye, and they've got all of this stuff going on in the background that your average human, like, I don't know, I mean, I have a massive guilt complex. If I had done some of the things that these guys have done, I wouldn't be getting up and running for office and standing there and telling you how it goes.
Acting like things are okay.
It's okay. I don't get it.
I could never run for office, Wendy.
No.
I got so many things that I forgot about. Here's the Wikipedia thing.
Okay.
Gun walking, or letting guns walk, was a tactic used by the Arizona U.S. Attorney's Office and the field office in the United States, ATF, blah, 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 hoping to track the guns to Mexican drug cartel leaders and arrest them. These operations are done under the umbrella of Project Gunrunner. And it's so, and I wanted to clarify that because I had a conversation with some friends, and everybody's like, "Oh, Obama, is about gun control, but wasn't he Fast and Furious and this and that?" And I'm like, "Fast and Furious, yeah, 2008, 2011, yes, but this started in 2006. So I don't want people to think that this whole gun thing or the ATF gives an F who the president is.
No,
you can so somewhere between." Just make sure no one has a gun, to these zealots that are playing the victim saying they're coming for your guns, is the rest of the country. And right. Somewhere in between all of those people is the rest of the country. And I didn't mean for this to get political. We have so much volleyball to talk about, right? And the entitlement culture we were talking about is a real thing. And hopefully what we're saying is going to inspire that further discussion of that. But these gangs are getting bigger, and because people in the middle, liberal and conservatives in the middle, are getting gaslighted,
right,
by a whole bunch of people. After a while, I don't want to criticize people, but not everybody's will is as strong as mine or as yours. Where we're like, all right, I got 5-on-1. Fine, you want to talk about? I'll take all of y'all on. Let's pick this up where I actually have some information. Where you calling your guy who is already polished on debate and already comes with a shitload of information that's bludgeoning me to death on information I don't have.
Right.
Of course, that's not a fair fight.
No.
But if people's will were a little stronger, they wouldn't want to feel the need to be part of the gang. Okay.
Well, and doesn't that relate to everything in life?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're not confident in what you believe, then you're looking for somebody else to come and back up your position. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. If you, I said to you today, I'm like, who wants
to fly solo, Wendy? Right?
I'm kind of discovering the beauty of flying solo. So I don't know. The more convicted you become of your path and what you believe, the less you mind flying solo.
Yeah.
Right? You do it. Are you kidding me? I look at you today and I was like, who says I'm going to make a podcast that's about volleyball and current events, which I think is brilliant.
And health and wellness.
Right. And
other sports.
But you just kept doing it, right? Mm-hmm. And you can say, people look at you and say, I don't know if I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And you did it. So.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it all relates. Mm-hmm. It relates all the way up to the highest structures of power, all the way down to how we sit around our dinner table and have a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why we have such a problem with entitlement culture.
Yeah.
Because without entitlement culture, who the hell's going to take a chance?
Right. Because no one's going to know how to fail, because no one's going to know how to stick their neck out there, because you're going to think, oh, I'm uncomfortable, I should pull back.
Yeah.
Right?
But you understand the intention of entitlement culture, right? If everyone gets a trophy anyway, I might as well just go for it.
Right.
That was their level of thinking of going in, which is failing, of course.
Yeah. And then you just bring everybody's level down.
Yeah.
Right? You're playing in the smaller playground. Your world gets smaller. Mm-hmm. You're less inclined to seek out other schools of thought or bridge gaps between people because you don't believe. And I think when you're more confident in your own position, you also have an ability to sit and listen.
Yeah.
And if you don't see that in people, that if they always have to defend instead of sit back and listen to someone else's point of view, then you're hitting on an insecurity. Right?
100%.
Yeah.
I think... You ever see the movie Troy?
Yeah. Not in a while, but
the
it's a
beginning
great
of the
movie.
movie, like Achilles has to fight this dude, and the dude is huge. I think it was like former WWE star Nathan Jones.
Okay.
And the kid was like, he was the biggest man I've ever seen in my life. The kid that was trying to wake him up. You know?
Yeah, I remember.
And he said, I remember the kid saying, I'm going to try to wipe this lens. I remember the kid saying, man, I would never, I'm glad I don't have to fight that guy. I would never want to fight that guy. And Achilles said, that's why no one will remember your name.
Yeah.
Cold.
Cold, but true.
He's not wrong.
Right.
He's not wrong. Sometimes you want to be remembered. You have to throw yourself out there. And if the risk of failing is too big that you don't want to do it, that's your life choice.
You have to decide if
your life choice.
If you're comfortable, being comfortable, or if you know that like somehow you're not fulfilling what you were supposed to do, and that'll eat you alive.
Yep.
Because that's, when I started writing my blog, I was like, doing this for myself. Okay, then I'm doing it for my kids. Then I'm like, no, I really feel like I got a message that needs to get out there. I don't know how the heck I'm going to get it out there, but I'm going to keep writing.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I've enjoyed a lot of success with this podcast.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed some success. We were talking about before we got on, God bless you, Earl and Jake, for having me as your coach. I got him in the main draw. God bless you, Rafu Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I was working with him and Kevin McCulloch from Manhattan Beach 2016, and they allowed me these small opportunities. So I wouldn't say I grade myself as some success. I mean, right now this freaking camera's blurring, so I can't say a big success. But this camera blurring is a testament to what the podcast is going to become, because I have someone that actually texts the show that's good at this stuff. And now we're almost at the end, and where things are going to be more normal.
Yes.
and I won't have to tech my own shows. But the reason why I've enjoyed the success and the reason why I was able to take some of these chances is I put myself in a position where my bottom line and my brand are two different things. Mm-hmm. It's rare. I'm going to say that again for everybody listening. My bottom line, how I make my money, where my next check's going to come from, retirement, your first chakra shit.
Mm-hmm.
Your security, your
Roots
job,
so
your feet on the ground.
Yeah,
We could talk about the 7 major chakras of the spinal cord, because I know you know that. But my bottom line and my brand, what I'm trying to become, because I didn't know what the hell I was just swinging, and my wife was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I know what I'm doing. She's like, what? I'm like, I don't know, but I know what I'm doing is right.
Yeah.
So my brand and my bottom line are not the same, are not connected. So some people out there, Wendy, if their podcast fails, they fail and they lose money, and they're invested in this, and they're constantly losing money. They're constantly in the red. They're not in the black. Can't even remember the last time they've been in the black. And they have this coming to Jesus moment where, like, do I keep doing this, or do I do something else in life?
Right.
Because right now it's killing me, and I got, maybe they just have self-responsibility.
Right.
Maybe they have a family to feed. Maybe they have this and that. And the reason, and this isn't an ego thing, this is just a reality for people who are trying to understand what the hell I'm doing here. My bottom line and my brand are two different things. I put myself in a position where this podcast, I'm going to do this podcast to the day I die. Mm-hmm. And if it succeeds or if it fails, if I get 1 viewer, or if I get 10,100 viewers, I'm just going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it.
Because you enjoy it.
Yeah. And my brand is what my brand is. And if my brand is built and it's good and it comes to something, that's fine. And if it doesn't, like you said, there's something to be said about at least turning old one day and looking back retrospectively and saying, hey, it didn't work out, but I fucking did it.
Yeah, I said what I needed to say.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. What was it? Travis Mewhirter had him on the podcast. And you guys should listen to that podcast. And Wendy, stay with me on this one. Yeah. Because that's why I'm supposed to let you talk. But he was being criticized by people on Volley Chat. He didn't qualify for a particular AVP. And someone seriously said, you need to self-assess. If you couldn't qualify for this draw, you need to do like a self-assessment. And I'm not. And the guy kind of came. He didn't seem like a regular troll. And if he was a troll, he was good because he's the kind of guy that makes you answer back like, fuck you, asshat or whatever. What do you know? Or, hey, glad you asked. And this is why I do this, or this is why I do that. Because I didn't teach Travis this. I know he knows this. You don't feed the trolls.
Agreed.
Travis right now, he's one of the best writers. I put him right up there with you.
Yeah, thanks.
He's a very, very good commentator. And he's this elite athlete that's given beach volleyball more than the old college try. Because he's actually qualified for the draw, I think, 4 times. And under conditions that people who were in that same draw, in that same tournament, probably wouldn't have qualified. That were, that had points or whatever.
For sure.
Like 11 o'clock at night, Rafi Paulus in Texas, humid as fuck. What? What? Yeah, come on. That's a stud, dude.
For sure.
That's a stud. And then you got to wake up the next morning and play someone who's fresh and is already better than you.
Yeah, no, I love Travis's book on coming through the qualifiers.
Yes.
Like, it's good.
Yes.
It's really good.
So this guy poked Travis really hard that he wanted a response, and he read this quote from FDR. And it goes like this. And for the people that watch this podcast, listen to it again, or you can just turn me off. I don't care. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring so greatly. Yep. So that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat.
Absolutely. I know that quote. I love. It's in Brene Brown's book, Daring Greatly, and it's a legendary quote, and it absolutely is exactly what we're talking about.
And because I read it terribly because my eyes are not so good because I'm old. It basically means it's very hard for people to understand who don't throw themselves out there.
Yeah.
Travis was not trying to be self-serving and arrogant about his. That was basically his way of saying, like, were you out there?
Yeah.
Were you playing?
Which is a completely fair remark. I mean, that's exactly what you should be saying. It
is fair. Yeah. No, it is. It's some people think it's unfair because I don't think you need to be a chef to know if a steak tastes like shit. But it's very, very fair to ask this person. Maybe the person he's talking to, maybe it doesn't apply to volleyball. Maybe it's something that he wants something for himself that he might not have. He doesn't want to win. He doesn't want to go because even though he can win, he's so scared of losing.
Right.
He ain't showing up at all. It's just like the Achilles thing, right? Yes. I wouldn't want to fight that guy.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why no one will remember your name. I'll remember Travis's name. I mean.
Yeah.
So. What I told Travis, and you'll appreciate this, and it was important for this guy. I'm sure he was listening think Volley Chat listens to everything. I Google search myself. I think I'm famous now.
I've never even been on there, so I don't. You're teaching me something new.
So, I basically said you have to understand the qualifiers represent the best of the best from regional winners.
Yeah.
Some are competitors, but regional winners. You'll have people that won the Pottstown Rumble. All right. $5,000 to win that thing. I mean, the guys in the draw that they're not going to make $5,000. They're going to make the $2,000 to show up and then two and gone, right? Miles Evans, Bill Kolinsky, right? Miles missed the qualifier a bunch of times. Miles won Seaside 3 times. Wow. That's a respectable tournament. Yeah. Anyone whose last name is Baumgren, Wapaka, winning grass threes, winning beach doubles.
Yeah.
Mike Salek, Greg Hunter. Mike Salek for a long time was one of the best players in New York City. Played overseas in Greece and this and that. So you see these guys in the second round and the third round, and they're in that playing game, and either they're in or they're out, and they don't go in. Yes, they do need to reassess their game. And yeah, so the guy's not wrong.
But I think it comes back to okay.
Please.
We get to do in life what we are up for the challenge for. Are we gonna? If you want to challenge something, go out and do it. Who cares if you fail or you because
still can't sip this.
Oh no, because honestly, the question becomes, and Michael Gervais is on his podcast every week, and I had that conversation I was telling you about with the Olympic rower yesterday. The question always comes down to, are you trying to be the best or your best? Right? So your best on any given day is going to be different. You're going to have one day, like I go out, I play for nothing. But I go out and I play because it gives me joy, because I like to move my body, because I like the relationships I have out there. And one day I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel amazing. The next, you can look like crap. So the day that Travis is getting attacked, I don't know how he was playing or what happened to qualify or not qualify, but the question of why you're being attacked, and this is the thing, you're right, you don't have to be a chef to understand the steak isn't great, but if you're not out there, like why are you throwing the dart? What's the point? And the whole volley chat, like I said, I've never been on there, but that's going to this social media age of everyone feeling like they can throw anything out there, but they don't have to back it up, right? Yeah. And what I'm finding on my social media is gold. Literally had that.
It's the Optimist Journal.
Yeah,
Wendy.
it's
the Optimist Journal.
I found a rower that had this conversation yesterday with a gold medal Olympic rower from Britain who has battled cancer and is paralyzed and has the most incredible outlook on life, but has been through these stages of grief. That's what I'm finding on social media because of what I put out there. But what these kids are dealing with, what Travis is dealing with, why do you throw the dart? It's something about you. It's not about whoever you're throwing it at.
But I would suggest those guys who throw the dart are a dime a dozen.
Yeah, for sure.
But what this guy was talking about, and it was probably even worse than what I thought the guy was talking about was even worse than what Travis thought he was talking about. I said this one particular guy was worth answering because his question and his comment had so many colors. If he wasn't someone that never done anything in your life that you don't know, let's say he was someone, okay, and he said that, because the people that actually have done shit in their life usually don't say that, but occasionally you find a douchebag, who likes speaking up from here, down to the plebs, if he decides to grace them with his presence or the sound of his voice. I thought he was talking about something a little bit different, and this is cold because this goes to the soul. And I said this so many podcasts, but I'm going to say this again.
Okay.
You're in the qualifier, and the qualifier after qualifier after qualifier after qualifier, right? You got Miles Partain.
Love that kid. Makes
the main draw at age 15.
Yeah.
Okay, did he crew up? Did he enlist a cave troll and do it with Phil or whatever? No, did it with his brother who was 17, no less. All right, the youngest team, certainly the youngest player, beat Rosie's record at 16. He's 15 years old. He didn't stop qualifying. He started. He qualified again with his brother. He qualified with Paul Lottman. Actually, did some damage. Eventually, got a fifth at a gold series. There's something about there's something about these neutral grounds instead of people having to fly to California or whatever that really makes you come to Jesus. Congratulations, Rafi Paulus. Congratulations, Ian Satterfield, winning the beach challenge. They beat Jeff Samuels and Rosie in the semis, and they beat Ty Loomis and David Lee in the finals. So neutral ground, cowboy up. Yeah. Trickle up, don't trickle down. Don't wait for partners to switch up and this and that. But this is the point I made to Travis, and this is something that made Travis rethink. Does Travis jump higher than Miles? Yeah, he does. Does he hit harder than Miles Partain? Of course he does. Is he more athletic than Miles? Hell yeah, a gangly ass little kid, right? So, but there he is, and there you are. Reassess. That is the cold hard truth. And the reason why Travis answered that, and the reason why I'm even bringing it up now, is because what seemed like just this troll bomb by someone, that could have been without. I mean, if you read it, if you just skimmed through it, like, I'm not feeding the trolls. Nope, he's hungry and he can go starve. I'm not giving him my lunch money. I got my Starbucks here. You cannot have a sip. Okay, this thing right here is finally starting to thaw out. You ain't getting shit. So it's a truthful question.
Yeah.
There he is, shorter than you, younger than you, not as athletic, doesn't jump as high, doesn't hit as hard, didn't crew up. You know what I mean by crew up, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Crew up is more of a team thing, right?
Right.
Like my friends, like, oh, you never beat me in a Sixers game, and I'm like, who I got backing me up? And, oh, by the way, you have a cave, you have a 7-foot giant. You know what I mean? Come on. I mean, so it's a self-examination thing, Travis.
Yeah.
So is it a coaching thing? Is it a muscle exercising your muscles from the neck up thing, Wendy? Is it right?
It's always about that.
Is it at that level? It is, of course,
Yeah.
right? You're not teaching nobody how to pass. These are professionals,
No,
right?
and it's all. There's so much of it's mindset and consistency, right? I mean.
But now it becomes a fair question.
Yeah.
So I looked at it that way, because this guy, it was either the heaviest troll ever that was worth responding to, or is just the guy saying, look, I know you think I'm breaking your balls right now, but why not? And so him as an elite athlete, you can take that as okay, that's why you're not there. That's why no one's going to remember your name, right? Like Achilles.
Right.
Or you can take these things as not a put down or a challenge. And then the reason why I'm even talking about all this, because it all circles back in my idiotic genius to the culture and entitlement.
Yeah.
Right? You can take that as a put down, like, dude, your serve's not there. Coach is coming down on me. Oh, this and that. No, why isn't my serve there?
Yeah.
Why am I not playing enough or whatever and this and that?
Right.
So it's our responsibility as coaches to tell them, to not tell them they can't do something. All right.
Yeah.
Line up a bunch of kids in the wall. You're not tall enough. You never play mid at all. 5'9" on 10. No. You don't do that. You say you change your language as a coach to induce the challenge, the competitor, whatever is left in this entitlement culture.
Mm-hmm.
You can't jump serve. Saying it that way, the kid's saying, maybe I'm just going to float serve for the rest, and maybe for the rest of his life, or maybe he'll come back at it from a different angle. So this is why I'm talking all this nonsense, because again, I'm an idiotic genius. I brought it full circle back to this culture.
I mean,
it is only our responsibility as coaches to speak in a language that challenges them.
Right.
If I have a 5'9" guy that wants to play outside hitter, to some coaches' reality, no, you can't. Forget it. Nope, it's never going to happen. And that's where coaches fail. Coaches act like they're doing this kid a favor to play libero. You're going to save a whole bunch of time where you could have just done this in the first place. No, you're a fucking loser by telling a kid that. Yes, I said it. You're a loser. But, I don't care what club you coach, how many championships you won, how many rings you got, recruiting the right kids where you get to be a glorified babysitter. You're a loser. 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 Okay? No, that 5'9" kid, you're like, okay, look. There ain't no 5'9" outside hitters out there. I'm gonna be real with you.
Yeah.
If you want to hit outside, this is what I think you should do. This is what I think you should do. This is what I think you should do. Your path is going to be more difficult than anybody else, and it's going to be unfair. The question is, how bad do you want it? That's how you talk to a kid. How bad do you want it?
Yeah.
And if that kid looks at you, is like, I want this so fucking bad, coach. I want this so bad. Now you're communicating with your player, and now you're doing some real fucking work. Now you're doing some real work.
Right.
And now you're doing your job. Now you're not playing glorified babysitter. You're doing your job as a coach. Whew, and I'm back.
So that motivation that you're providing to that kid, the question is when you get coaches that are that fired up to make a difference in a kid's life, are we delivering the athlete to the court that is ready to take that kind of motivation?
And that's the question the coach needs to ask himself for his super objective.
Right.
Is his objective to win a national championship? Well, you won't have that problem if you recruit the right kids, right? Are you someone that's where your priority is developing these kids to go to college and maybe be a student athlete on a smaller school or bigger school or on a different scale that takes priority over winning now? Then make that decision, make that distinction, and definitely be honest with the parents.
Yeah.
Who go in thinking or whatever. Because a lot of parents pull their kids from a team because they think if they play for Evolution, they're going to have more playing time because the whole purpose of them playing for Evolution is because SCVC and where your son played and this and that. He's a practice player. He ain't never going to play on the court. Right? Evolution promises one set.
So they're coming
we promise
in,
one set for every player.
They're coming in at a developmental level, which is great because
some of them are.
Yeah.
Because that's what Evolution is. Evolution is a mixture of 4 or 5 guys who are just G's. They go to Redondo High School. They don't feel like driving all the way out there.
Mm-hmm.
I built my brand. I want to play for Jason. Mm-hmm. The parents see me. That guy with the Yankee hat, he don't take no mess. My kid back talks me all the time. I want to see what he does.
Yeah.
I want to see how my kid talks to this coach and see what happens.
Yeah.
So I got on a 12-man roster, I got 4.5, 5 G's, which, by the way, is the amount of scholarships the NCAA allows men's volleyball to have, 4.5 scholarships. So then I got a bunch of kids who are not good enough. They try to fit this team, doing whatever, they're coming with me. And then I take 2 kids who are developmental case. I take a kid that never played volleyball in his life. And that's what the Evolution, and Evolution's attractive, Wendy, because we're the only club that guarantees that a kid plays at least one entire set. So, and me, I'm like, you're going to get your set.
Yeah.
But, after a few tournaments, you're not going to want just the one set.
Right.
Right? So now...
that's how it works.
But that's
teaching motivation.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there talking all this nonsense right now, and I'm not letting you talk, and I'm so sorry. This is not why you came here. You come here to listen to me, right? No, but it's... The reason why we even brought it up, it's such a place it has such an important place in our heart, and it grinds against our core beliefs as competitors and what we expect of our children, right? You are a power mom. Everybody listening, Wendy's got a kid at Stanford right now playing men's volleyball. She's got a daughter playing at TCU, playing for Hector Beach Volleyball Team, which right now I understand is in the top 10.
Yeah.
Hector can coach, dude.
Yeah.
He just needed a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Sean Ledig says, preach. Say that shit again for the folks in the back pews. Don't babysit and be realistic. Tell your kids the truth. Tell your kids the truth. Ledig, we love you. And Wendy's blurry, and I'm sorry she's blurry. But look, if I had Wendy in HD, man, no one will pay attention to what she's saying. They'll just be staring into that woman's eyes. So gotta blur you, girl.
Oh my gosh, you're making me blush.
But the reason why I'm so passionate I feel like I'm over talking is because this culture, this entitlement culture is not an unsolvable problem.
No. So we have to do it from the ground up. So where we spend our time every day, and this is in the car as we're coming out of this pandemic thing, in the car with your kids, going across town. When I took my kid to his first swim practice, I looked at him and I said, at some point, you're going to be really, really tired. And it's okay. Keep going. Like, it's only an hour, right? Like, fatigue is okay. Everything that a coach, you teach these lessons and then they know how to trust a coach. If odds on, most people are good people, right? And we throw darts so fast when we feel that we've been threatened that, like, a good coach is being called a bad coach. Like, well, maybe they're just tough. And maybe your kid needs to toughen up. Now, I also have gone the other way and made my daughter do junior guards with the broken arm because I'm like, hey, you're good. Don't worry about it. 3 weeks later, hey, Mom, the push-ups are still hurting. Oh, shoot. So yeah, does recovery, does listening, like that, building that awareness of like, it's not always the grind. It's self-awareness. You have to know and you have to build those relationships so you can see where your kid is coming from. So that's like slowing down and taking the time to listen to them, to do something that you don't maybe always want to do. Like, do I sit around and play Mario Kart for my own health with my 13-year-old? No.
No.
I do it to bond with him so that when something comes up, he knows he can come to me and we're going to have a chat and he trusts me, right? You do things that are selfless as a parent, but you know, your kids learn by what you show them, not what you say, right? So coming back to like creating an athlete, I want to deliver an athlete to the court that's coachable. And I don't think you would find somebody. I'm amazed at the access I have, and I tell my kids this. And I'm being a bragging mom. I can go up to coaches on the beach or in the gym and say, "Hey, I'm Lauren's mom," or "I'm Luke's mom," and they'll talk to me because I delivered them a coachable kid, and you know. And then I've watched my daughter battle through injuries. She hasn't played a lot this year. She's got a foot that's killing her. You know, we're getting an MRI. You got to deal with that. She's frustrated. She's learning. She's learning how to take care of her body. She's learning how to deal with disappointment. My son, Stanford cut their program. The kid's wanted to go to Stanford since he was 8 years old.
Oh, my God.
He signs, his team wins a national championship, and he signs at Stanford, and pandemic hits, and we're cutting an Olympic sport. Stanford's had a volleyball player on the Olympic team, I think every team since 1984. We're going to cut.
That's ridiculous.
What?
It's ridiculous.
For a school that has a $30 billion endowment and makes $1 billion a year in interest and on that endowment, and we can't touch that for sports. Okay, well, I get all the ins and outs are crazy, but there's no reason that these 240 athletes that got recruited should not have a sport. They were brought to Stanford. They worked hard to get there. They cut their legs out from under them. They don't just go and like join the swim team or go to the drama club and learn to lead the same way. This is their chance. This is where they built their leadership skills. Those are the skills they're going to take out into the world.
Well, this is what disappoints me more about Stanford, because Stanford is one of those schools that should know better, right? You go to Harvard, right? Harvard doesn't offer any athletic scholarships.
Right.
They're Division One, I guess Division One AA for like their football team, but all around Division One. In fact, a couple of years ago, if you remember, they were in the NCAA men's the championship. They played UCLA first round. They actually
yes.
took the first set 25-23 before UCLA cracked the code, you know. Big up to Harvard, and then Sparrow, shame on you. Yeah, I said it. It's that kind of day, guys. Stanford should know better, because they predicate their philosophy on not the return on financial return on college sports. They're the first ones to tell you college sports is not about money. It's about kids who develop leadership tools and this and that with good coaching that become better leaders of the world. And being this whole leadership through playing sports was a time-tested thing for college sports before football and basketball became this, are we in the red or are we in the black? Or if it wasn't for football, you wouldn't have a team. Okay, so what? Is that a point? I mean, does that mean we don't deserve a team because there's one team that's able to exploit their athletes? You know, and not fucking pay them? That's ridiculous. When everyone talks about college sports, it's a business. It's a revenue generating business. It was never meant to be that way.
No.
It was meant to be a leadership thing among people who want to learn, who played a sport in high school or whatever, or this and that, who are at a more advanced level, a more acute level, decided this is what they want their full college experience to be, because you know that, Wendy, when you play a college sport, you have to accept as an athlete, it's a completely different game. Your full college experience.
Yes, exactly.
You know,
and so you got to love it.
Yeah, like my girl Kelly probably would have loved to stay and play volleyball at Harvard, but to her credit, she didn't want that to be her
her whole life.
Her whole 10-month experience.
Yeah.
Because it's not just in season for the people listening. It's preseason, it's tournaments, it's workout, it's
Yeah,
Sarge's
it's
meetings,
not
it's all
coming
that
home
stuff.
for holidays. It's being on the road.
You
It's
know.
figuring out how to get your class work done when you're
Yep.
traveling, taking a final in a hotel room.
So the
yeah.
disappointment comes from a school who, to my understanding, I'm not quoting exact words, but who predicated their athletic program on building character, of raising leaders. I think 11% of their student body were student athletes. They if they're not number one in like total number of sports, they were number two. I think Harvard's number one. I think Harvard has like 41.
Well, they had
sports.
36 before they cut this 11. So.
Yeah.
Which is why that alumni group that met with the board, with the president and the provost last week is called 36 Strong.
Yeah.
And they've come up with a plan to remedy the financial situation. Now it's getting pressed forward, and there's supposedly the board's meeting. I think they're making some progress, but there's no other choice but to reinstate these 11 sports, because Stanford has never not been able to raise money. They did not give these programs any lead time. Say, hey, your program's in trouble. Alumni, why don't you go out and see if you can raise some money to endow your program? No, we're just going to cut it out from under the legs of kids during a pandemic that just lost the previous season. I mean, where's the leadership in that? How in the world did you not go out to your alumni first and say, you're in trouble? We're going to give you 6 months, but this is what's on the chopping block.
Because they thought they can get away with it.
They're not going to.
No.
This isn't going to go away.
There are certain schools, and I guess because that's their philosophy, that they thought they can get away with it, their foundation. There are certain schools that you would never get away with that. Look no further than USC.
Right.
Do you know what the alumni would do to the president, for the athletic director, or whoever was in charge of cutting men's volleyball at USC? Do you know what the alumni would do to those people? Yeah. It would be January 6th all over again.
Yeah.
Dude, do not talk about it. Listen, the reason why I'm one of USC's biggest critics, not because of their athletes and the way they do things, but because of their annoying fan base. I just can't. They're just so fucking nauseating sometimes. They're like the Dallas Cowboys of volleyball, right? So look, this is why. You're the Optimists Journal, right? And there's some things you want to say, and there's some things I could say because my
candor.
my bottom line.
I appreciate your candor.
No, but my brand, but that is the genius.
Yeah.
That is my
I love
white
it.
privilege, if you call it,
Okay.
of my brand and my bottom line not being the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Oh, I'm with you
I'm
on
not,
that.
right?
Oh,
yeah.
I'm not gonna not give it to me real. That
Yeah.
I can I can get along with anyone that's gonna give it to me real.
I'll say it for them at
So,
home.
yeah.
I'm not this way because I'm on camera. I'm on camera because I'm this way. Okay.
That's
So
the truth.
But as much as I throw up on my mouth listening about how great they are and this and that, and just big old USC flag outside. As much as I criticize them, all in a playful way, because I don't want to punch anyone in the face over this. It's all playful.
Yeah.
But as much as I criticize them, there's nothing. I got nothing on USC when it comes to them taking care of their own. I don't have dick on that team when it comes to their alumni. From the way they take care of their own, from the time you commit, from the time you go in there as a freshman, and long after if you graduate and you live in the South Bay, you're a fucking made man.
Yeah. It's a network.
Dude, it's a network. Harvard-esque.
Yeah.
Okay,
Agreed.
so when that whole scandal thing came out, like the whole singer thing, and they said, oh, elite schools like Princeton and Stanford and USC, and I said, elite school? Is an elite school? Yes, but you're gonna put them in the same sentence as Yale and Princeton. I said, you did that to piss me off, right? You did that to piss me off. But self-examine, Jason. Self-examine. They are, and academically, they're elite. I say elite enough.
Yeah.
I can never. And I will definitely punch someone in the face if they say academically USC is as elite as Yale and Stanford. That's just. It's an insult.
Yeah, no, my third one, she's a film girl. She'd be looking at USC film
Hell
school.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay.
No, but look, if you put USC...
But it's excellent.
If you said there was a scandal at schools like Marymount Manhattan, Juilliard, and USC, I'm going to punch you in the face. Because as good as USC is, it's not.
Yeah.
Is it elite? Yes, but It is an elite school, but you can't, you put Stanford and Yale and USC in the same sentence. You can't do that. But you can. You can because of the way they take care of their own.
Right.
They take care of their own better than Princeton does.
Well, and that's
they
my
take
whole
care
beef.
of their own better than Yale does.
Yeah.
Only Harvard is the school we could have that conversation as far as being elite and taking care of your own. Post-graduation higher. Right now, I think number one in the country is Stevens Tech. They got a pretty good Division III program there, and they have a pretty good coach and even better assistant coaching staff than Patrick. I don't know if he's still there, but
well, and I love all those options for kids. Like, I mean, you can get some real brainiacs that play volleyball and go play at an MIT or at the Division II or III. And it's not your whole life, So I've had coaches ask me, what do I do with these kids that are not on the, they're not getting a lot of playing time. I'm like, okay, around here, when you're playing on a top level team, if you're not getting playing time, you're getting coached you could probably still go play. I mean, odds on, hands down all the time, you can go play at a 2 or 3 school a Division II or III school because the level of competition around here is amazing. I didn't grow up like this.
No, it's fierce.
Yeah. My kid didn't want to move down here from Fresno. And about the time he was 14, I started saying, are you ready to thank me yet? Because you love volleyball. Do you see what's going on here?
It's fierce out here because the culture doesn't allow them to be anything less.
Yeah.
Like, you can go to any school in MPSF or Big West, and even if they have a below 500 season, they're still going to be better than the rest of the country,
great
right?
Volleyball.
Like, when you go to college on the East Coast, you're looking for a good volleyball program to go on the East Coast. It's all about the coach.
Yeah.
It's all about who the coach is there.
Right.
Here, it's all about the programs. Like, still, people still go to USC, even though they I think in 2019 they had a 15-9 record. They were 11-0 at home.
Wow.
And that earned them the right to get their head chopped off by Division II Lewis in the first round. But you look at outside that season, they've had losing records. They had a 14-14 season, and that was only because they were down. They were 1-8 and had to come back to play 500, where they got their heads chopped off by Long Beach State in the FPSF first round.
Gotcha.
But they've had, out of their last 6 seasons, I think 4 of their last 6 seasons were losing seasons.
Yeah.
Which is inexcusable for a culture that's supposed to be the hotbed of recruiting.
Right.
But they're still going to be, right? They played Harvard. They're still going to, it took them 5 sets, but they're going to beat them. They're going to play Stevens Tech. They're going to beat Stevens Tech 3-1, maybe sweep them.
Yeah.
They're going to beat Sacred Heart University, which is a very watered down D1 program on the East Coast.
Okay.
So I guess what I'm trying to say, for East Coast, it's about the coach.
Okay.
West Coast, it's about the school. You can't, even if you miss, you can't miss.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been one of Jeffrey Nygaard's biggest critics about how UFC's performed the last few years. But again, 15-9 record is very respectable. Being undefeated, 11 at home, defending your turf, is a way to turn down a program. But I've been one of his biggest critics, and I'm like, you can't tell me that you have USC is the hotbed for recruiting for men's volleyball. And this is the best. This is the best your team could do. No, that falls on the coach.
Yeah.
Don't walk around with your big chin sticking out.
Well, and
upset, looking upset all the time and being all intense when your team's losing. Sorry, but and I like Jeff Nygaard.
I don't know.
Yeah, huh?
I don't know him. I know.
I like him because I met him once or twice at nationals. Like him, I'll sit with him. Well, he'll have a conversation as much of a conversation as someone like him's gonna have. He's not an extrovert.
Okay.
But John Mayer was his partner for a long time, and John said a bunch of nice things about him. And if John likes you, then I like you. So that's how that streams out. John Mayer, right, ladies and gentlemen, the head coach at LMU, the reigning defending WCC champs.
Nice.
Because they won in 2019.
Okay. Yeah,
right.
I know.
They beat Pepperdine.
We lost last year.
Losers bracket.
That's so.
Had to beat him twice.
I'm always for the underdog.
Had to beat him twice.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Took a picture. I was his director of operations,
Nice.
and I quit before that season.
Oh.
I quit to do color commentary for
P1440
because they were doing all of Pepperdine's home games.
Yeah.
The Big West Championship when Hawaii played Cal Poly, I call that with Dodd and those
fun.
guys or whatever.
That's fun.
And John's like, come here, come take the picture with me with like the plaque and this and that. And I'm like, we're taking the picture, and I'm like, I wish I was a part of this. And he's like, you are a part of this.
Oh.
He's like, there's no way.
Let's stand up.
There's no way we don't get to 2019 without you.
Yeah.
And I'm not bragging, but he's right. Before I came, they were 6 and 13. My year I was there with them. They were 22 and 14, and then the next year they won the WCCs.
Yeah.
This year they might get invited. They're number 6. They're
Yeah.
ranked 6. They beat Long Beach State twice.
Okay.
They beat Pepperdine twice, and really, if they just if they just win the WCCs again, I honestly think that's enough to get in.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't enough to get in 2 years ago, but
Okay.
Pepperdine still won, and they didn't. But
Yeah, I'm still learning about how all that
Yeah.
works. I was chatting with Hector last week.
well, the
you know.
more spots that
Yeah.
that come out, the more it's gonna be, you know, because everyone's gonna feel cheated.
For
right?
sure. That's what
Like-
that's what it feels like.
Like Stetson got in.
Okay.
You know, and like
Yeah.
some really good schools didn't. Like the year before, I thought FIU, Florida International, got in, and like Cal Poly and Long Beach State didn't.
Yeah.
Like Cal Poly was like 24 and 5, you know,
Yeah.
and like you say, playing
Big time. Like
their
tough
conference
programs.
is strong.
Yeah, exactly.
Their conference
Yeah.
is strong. Hawaii and Cal Poly are in their conference. UC
Yeah.
Davis is going to get better. Ollie McCulloch's the
Well-
head coach there, so you know they're going to get
Yeah.
better.
Well, and I was gonna say you got Todd Rogers at Cal Poly, and I'm a Cal
Yeah.
Poly graduate, so I wish that sport existed when I was. God, it would have been fun.
The true professor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So
Hey,
fun.
listen, Chrissy Jones became the player she
Oh yeah,
became
she went
because
and
of
played
him.
up there a year, huh?
She her grad
Yeah.
year. She's a grad
Yeah.
year.
Oh, it's the best place in the world to live. Good Lord. I love it up there.
What a story she had, huh?
Yeah.
Being the 47th seed and then making the main draw semifinals. 47th seed qualifier.
Wow.
Main draw semifinals.
Yeah. What city was that in?
Hermosa Beach. Yeah.
That's
I was
legit.
there. Do you know this is, and you'll appreciate this more than anyone because you have a daughter at TCU. Do you have any idea how good her generation and the kids coming up 2 years behind her are? Do you have any idea, like the girls who just graduated, let's say, I'll just say the girls who are 2 years removed. I'd say the group of girls after Sarah Hughes and Kelly Clays. Kelly
okay.
Clays and Sarah Hughes, they're special. They're one of a kind.
Yeah.
But Sponsel, you know,
Yeah.
the year after that, Sponsor was already a pro before she
Right.
even graduated.
Yeah.
Maple and Kraft, who were 16 years old when they were in
Yeah.
Hermosa Beach. They made the quarterfinals. Chrissy Jones and Munoz had to beat Maple and Kraft to get into the semifinals.
Oh, I do remember
which is a
that.
testament to how we just had this conversation about reassessing your game.
Yeah. Yep.
I challenge a lot of these female players who are walking around like they're G's. They're out
I
there,
know.
say hi to someone. They act like because they do this sport better than everybody, better than most people. They think they get to act like a snob. Old school rule.
Chill.
Old school
Yep.
rule. You can only be a prima donna and win.
And I
You
will
can
say,
only be a prima donna and win.
And I will say, the better you are, the more responsibility you have to lift everybody up around you.
Yeah, I'm not saying you have
Yeah.
to be a prima
Yeah.
donna because you win, but
Right.
but you
Yeah.
can't.
But
be,
there is a lot of that going. It goes back to entitlement culture, right?
I saw this trailer
And
on
protection.
Showtime where the woman says to like a fat student, she says, "You could be skinny and a bitch, or you could be fat and nice. You can't be fat and a bitch." I was like, "Oh, woo! Oh my God!"
What was this one? What?
Cancel culture, where you at? You can't say that, right? Fat people can tease skinny people all they want, right?
I mean, I grew up with a dad who said, "Don't ever say anything bad about anybody because
No.
they'll be standing right behind you."
Yes.
So I kind of that was the message.
Doesn't it come full circle?
It doesn't feel good.
No.
Does it feel good to say that kind of stuff to someone? No.
Dude,
What are you
when I got out of
protecting?
the Army, I literally blew up to like 265 pounds.
Okay.
And I had a friend of mine who was
Wow.
always in shape, always cut. This kid from Harlem. I'm not gonna name his name, but the people who follow me, I'm getting ready to tease him. But one of the best I call underground players you've ever met. You didn't
Cool.
have money to travel and this and that,
Yeah.
but every time you played him, you're like, oh God, I gotta listen to this guy's mouth and put up with his game. I
Yeah.
can't stop him. Sometimes the best way to stop guys to shut him up is to beat him. I can't beat this guy, So he would always poke fun at my weight. Like I would like Central Park. It's humid in New York, so I'm always
So
changing my shirt.
uncomfortable.
I'm always changing my shirt.
Yeah.
But listen, I got real work done there because of that.
Yeah.
I got real volleyball work done because it's uncomfortable out
Yeah?
there. I use outdoor to cross train for indoor.
Hey, I grew up in Fresno.
It's good to be humid and hot. This is why we're productive
I
people.
actually feel better like that. That's why I like
Yes.
hot yoga. I hate the wind down here. When it gets hot and everyone's dying, I'm like I'm just starting to. I feel great like that.
But here I got California drunken stupor, man. Sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna take care of this today. I do tomorrow. Do the day after. There's no procrastinating here. No. But anyway,
I love it.
Whenever I go to change my shirt, he'll be like, oh, whoa, I don't want to see. Anybody want to see that, this and that. And I'm not changing my shirt in front of everybody. I particularly go off to the side so people don't see me. So for me to go to the side and for people to highlight that, like. He has an acute sense of humor. Like our friends, our form of satire does include ridicule.
Yeah.
And parodying someone and this and that. But it put me in a bind because it was hurtful, but you can't say anything about it because you're like sensitive. Like, oh, I was only playing with you. You want to be sensitive or this or that, and this. And then it's really at the end of the day, like if I wasn't out of shape, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So it's one of those things where a decade goes by, right? I dropped 65 pounds. Well, net loss, I dropped 50 pounds.
Okay.
Right. I got down as low as 186. It's way too light for me considering my shoulders and this and that. So 195, 205. Right now I'm 211 because I put on my quarantine 15, but net loss is about 55 pounds.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he blew up to as much as 280 pounds. Yeah.
So never. Once again, why are you throwing? Don't throw the dart.
But at no time.
But you knew it was bothering you.
Even now to this day, like we're talking about it, and I'm not talking about satire because satire also includes irony as well as ridicule. Yeah. I never poke fun at him.
Yeah.
But I didn't stop other people from doing it. I'm like, oh, hey, okay, right back at you. My friend Ren is like, "What's up, Abu? How you doing? Oh my!" He'll change his shirt. Oh my God! So a lot of those things that are like coming back at him, and he's thick-skinned and he can take it, but I know he knows it hurts.
Yeah.
I know that he knows it hurts.
But it does. Then it comes back to personal responsibility. Like if it's bothering you, change it. Yeah. Right. And if it's not bothering you enough, then you won't change it. There's always a flipping point, right?
Well, for me, the how was fruit from a poisonous tree. I didn't understand the what. Like for me, I understood I was overweight, and my how was wrong. My how was just exercise more, but keep eating the same bullshit.
So and much more about food
and only
than
eat
exercise.
Twice a day. I'm like playing a sport, only eating 2 times a day, bigger portions. So So I started eating smaller portions 5 times a day. Sometimes when I was in training, sometimes 6.
Yeah.
And that was it. Started eating breakfast. Breakfast was important.
Heck yeah.
So, and it took a year, and I went from 265 to like 200.
And you feel so much better.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love my hair.
Energy's
I always used to cut my hair really short.
Yeah.
And that one year I was cutting, I let it grow long.
Okay.
Got my hair straightened because this is like a little fro under this.
Oh, yeah. No,
so check it out, people. Got my fro.
It's got quite the fro.
So, yeah, you saw the, the little half fro hawk.
Yeah.
But, I dropped a bunch of weight. Let my hair grow long, got it straightened. So I look like a completely different person.
I can't even picture it.
Like people who haven't seen me in a year and a half.
No, I can't even
they're
picture
like, that guy looks like Jason. And then they see the way I walk because
Yeah.
most lefties walk with their left hand swinging and their right hand still. A lot of lefties. This is the strangest thing you'll ever see. Watch, maybe watch Travis, maybe watch Miles.
Yeah.
Maybe Travis is going to be like, I do,
Yeah.
But people were like, wow, what happened to you? And this and that. So yeah, I changed my situation.
Part of the journey. Yeah, you gotta. If you're not happy, you gotta change it.
But I had to understand that there was a problem.
Yeah.
The what? I mean, the how was. I'm like, nope, this isn't a problem. I'm just gonna exercise more.
Well, right.
So my how was a fruit from a poisonous tree to understanding that there is a problem. Yeah. The problem is not enough exercise. The problem was what I was eating.
Right.
Excuse me.
Well, and sometimes like when you really want to change something, you got to do the harder thing.
Yeah.
Like for anyone that's an athlete, like some people really have a hard time getting up and working out. Like for those of us that have played sports our whole life, that's not the hard part, right? It's you know, how many beers are you going to drink? How many, you know, do you want ice cream after dinner? How many steaks a week are you going to eat? Versus like the older I get, you just feel like, oh, I just eat to fuel my body so that I can keep doing what I love to do, which is play volleyball and go to yoga and swim in the ocean and, you know.
And this is a woman that got like 3 kids. I don't even know you got 3 kids.
4.
4. I know what you were doing.
You'll be in trouble.
Oh, I know what you're doing. You're trying to build a forest team for 16th Street, right? You've been grooming them for decades.
You know what's going to be trouble is when I decide to send you my my 13-year-old who's 6'4" right now.
Yes.
He is all elbows and knees, but
I'm starting a beach club for
Are
boys
you?
as well.
Nice.
This pandemic has and because endless summer.
Yeah.
Like our clientele got cut in half. So honestly, Rob McLean, he's a necessity. Oz Borges is the longest tenured coach there. So those are the 2 coaches that are there, you know. And me, you know, I guess I'm just stepping back from it a little bit.
Okay.
But it's also going to, maybe, you know, maybe I start my own club, maybe I go back.
Okay.
But me and Duran took some time out from each other, but we're okay. I mean, we're not like my enemy or whatever. She just thought some of the things I was saying on my podcast was like bad for like Junior's business, but and I sound like I'm calling her out right now, and I'm so not, because the correlation doesn't support her assertion, right? If this is bad for business, why did I have Matt Olson on the podcast last week?
Yeah.
Wave is the banner that she operates under in the summer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is Dane Blanton on my podcast? Why is John Mayer come back on my podcast? A revolving guest. Why did she come on my podcast?
Yeah.
Twice, right? So.
Well, you know, I always think real goes a long way. Everything, what I love about you is that you give it to everybody straight. No one wonders where you're coming from. You treat everybody the same. There's no exclusivity to you. Like, you are approachable. And for anybody that's uncomfortable with that, and I don't know Duran, and I love what she's done on the beach.
We're 2 good human beings that have this disagreement. That's all.
But I mean, what you do, I always say, I don't have to agree with anybody. I just want them to be real. Yeah. Like, I don't want the pretension. I don't want I'm going to tell you one thing and do something else, or any of that. And I don't get that.
But can you appreciate if my brand and my bottom line were the same thing? Can you appreciate how I would have to have a choice to make?
Yeah, but I would have to have a choice to make. Because you're trying to cater a message for approval.
Right.
Right. I don't think that's any way to live.
No, it's not.
And granted, you do have to, you know,
people
have to put food on the table.
But it was a tough time for me because I was building my brand as a juniors coach. Mm-hmm. I did have appreciation. I did have parents coming to me for private lessons. I did have parents. Mm-hmm. I steered a lot of traffic Rob's way because I can't do it. You know, I can't. I'm coaching a club. I was coaching, you know, professionals at the same time. So Rob McLean, who's like this young genius, this beautiful mind, and he's working on getting a partner. I hope he plays with. I know Avery Dross is playing with someone, but Avery should smarten up and play with him. His reach is 11-8 on the beach. He had some demons to conquer up here. Physically hits with both hands. You know, his serve to space. Pretty. And there was a training session that I did with Rafu, Kevin, and me. We played King at the end, and Rob won all 3 games, including me and him beating Rafu and Kevin. So yeah, he let off 6. We was 9 up. Games at 15. It was 9 up. He let off 6 straight serves. His serve to space was, I've never seen I've never seen a kid that hungry.
So fun.
I guess the point I was trying to make was, it was a tough spot for me because at the same time I still wanted to coach juniors, but I don't want to enlist with a group that will make me enemies with certain people. There are certain people that I like that other people don't like. I don't know if I want to associate with that person. I don't really want to drive that far. I live in the South Bay. So
unless we know that someone has done something outright to absolutely wreck someone's life, my whole thing on this volleyball world, like, he likes her and she likes him and they don't get along. Building inclusivity in this sport is so important. So, like, from the person who will turn their nose up at you because they think they're a better player, or, you know, this club doesn't like that club, or this coach doesn't like that coach. Literally, people go through things. Every time I walk out on that court in the morning, people are going through such massive life upheaval and change. The little stuff that people hold grudges against, I don't understand.
How do they have the energy?
Every time I walk out, the only thing that those people need to do is play the game, because they're going through, kids battling health issues or mental health issues or divorces or, addictions. I mean, suicides. We have been through so much in the last year. Drop your grudges.
Yeah.
Let this volleyball thing be a rising tide.
She doesn't have a grudge against me. She's
no.
not home right now.
Oh, no. I'm not even talking about your, no, of course just one thing. But, the sport is too great, and there's so many great minds. And everybody's got a little bit of something that they do a little bit better than someone else. And if we just let people do what they do well and be inclusive, everybody gets better. Right?
Yeah.
So stop. Adults have to stop turning their nose up at each other so that the kids can learn to not turn their nose up at each other.
That's sometimes, doesn't it seem like such an incurable disease to some of these adults? So,
but I kind of don't get it though. I mean, I know why it happens, but it's like, you just start to realize this life is so short, and it is so worth just connecting with people and getting their story. And I know that's what I love to do.
We have so many friends though, like that. Wendy, we have friends that are arrogant, but they're still our friends because they're arrogant doesn't mean they don't have unconditional love. I don't give up on people because I know there's a layer under that where they're still
There's always
they have love for themselves, and good for you, but they have love for me too. There's room that's in their personality where there's room for everybody, and if you can get past some of the things that are a turn off to some people, you could understand some people better. Of course, there's people that are just so far gone they can't come back, where I don't, I'm not discourteous, but at the same time my New York virtue won't allow me to pretend to like and show respect that isn't there.
No, I'm never saying be fake. I'm saying be real, but most people are well-intentioned good people that might have a little chip on their shoulder, or have a different way of going about something, but just get curious about it rather than being either fearful of it or turning your nose up at it. I guess what I'm saying.
So I know you got somewhere to go, but before I jump into something fun, did we reach a point for this entitlement thing that you wanted to say?
I mean, I don't think anything's getting solved overnight, but I definitely I'm headed into a really big project that I'm very, very excited about, and I'll come back and tell you more about it.
When it happens, we come back after it happens. Yeah. We come back on the show
But I have this vision of connecting younger athletes with coaches and professionals, and amazing content that really battles entitlement culture and teaches the game of life, right? So volleyball's the lens, but we're really learning the game of life. And that's what I write about. That's where the Optimists Journal has gone. When I started it, I wasn't really sure where I was going with it. I was just kind of peeling back the layers of the onion and figuring out who I was and how I could be a better mom to my kids. And it's all but I've always learned through sports. So now it's just taken that road. And when you stay on your path and just keep doing what you like to do, like you podcasting, the right people come down your road, and you just have to take the next opportunity and keep following it. And some days you wake up and go, oh God, I don't know if I really feel it today. But if you believe in it, you keep going. So I write that blog every week, and I've had amazing people come into my path. And like I said, I talked to an Olympic gold medalist yesterday for an hour and 40 minutes just because his story is so inspiring, and he found me. I mean, I don't get it. He's like, tell me your story. I'm like, I'm a mom. I like to play volleyball. And I like to write. But you stay on your path, and great things happen.
No doubt.
That's what's coming.
Well, that's the one thing I like about the West Coast. If you acknowledge that some things aren't fair, but if you don't take that fact kicking and screaming, just keep your nose in the work, eventually when it comes through, the reward's even sweeter, because you like you said, you were in something that felt like a perpetual state of discomfort and whatever. It's not I think what we were trying to say, it's not a bad thing.
No.
So before we go on to something, I wanted to talk about yellow cards and red cards, but for the people who are out there doing that kind of business, that understand that we as coaches have to max out our responsibility to a point where you took it as far as it can go to get rid of this entitlement culture. And it seeps to the kid, and sooner or later it seeps to the parents' understanding.
Right.
Some parents will never get it, but some.
Right.
But you can change some people. You could definitely change some kids. You could definitely change the world, because these kids coming up are our next leaders. So, Sean Ledig, you're one of those people. And I love you
for
very,
sure. His
and I love you
content
very
is
much.
so
I
great.
got to name names now,
Yeah.
and if you
Yeah.
feel excluded, maybe I wasn't thinking about you, and I'm sorry about that. Bobby Jones, Project Serve, I love you very much. From kids to adults, right now, in his club, he has a 100% college volleyball commitment rate.
Wow.
That's unprecedented.
For sure.
Every single kid that's part of Project Serve.
That's incredible.
That's graduating is going to play college
incredible.
ball. Because in 2018, Endless Summer, we led the nation in commitments per capita. We had a small program, 22 girls, but we had 8 kids. And I mean, when I say commitments, I mean 3 USC, 1 UCLA, Long Beach State, our GCU's competitive, well coached, Arizona. Arizona State is actually Brad Keenan. So, but
right.
Sean Ledig, Bobby Jones, I love you. The college level, John Mayer, I love you. You create the stress-free environment, even to the biggest drama queen, where I don't know if they just don't want to disappoint you or if you just change this environment where all that negative energy and that drama just goes away. John Mayer, I love you very much. Dane Blanton, new coach at USC. I ain't calling you a real coach until you win a chip, but I know you. But I know you are a real coach. I guess I am calling you a real coach, but I can call you one, on the real when you actually win this. Right now, you're the number 1 seed in the country, and you create this environment, and you challenge kids. On the East Coast, Carl Frantz, who got the head coaching job at Fairleigh Dickinson University, who's now has a men's Division 1 men's NCAA program.
Yeah.
I knew him when he was an imposter. He wasn't like a real coach. He's at Mount St. Vincent. He didn't really understand. He understood the X's and O's of volleyball, but from all the way from the early 2000s to now 2021, 20 years later, I love you very much. Jose Pena, you are a hard ass, the head coach at NYU, and you do it the old school way, and you found a way for new school kids to appreciate that the old school way is still a way to go. Because some people are like being hard on kids and this and that's not the way to go, being nice all the time, whatever. And everybody who's so arrogant enough to think there's only one way to skin a cat and that only way is the right way can go. Those are the ones I don't name. Maybe Dane's like that too. And I just named him. I just named someone who probably feels that way. But Jose Pena, love you very much. Kevin Edwards, Justin Stack, all of these guys, East Coast love. Cool. Y'all got love. So I gave love on the West, the South, and the East. Only for the people I know, not for the people I read about. Yeah. So now.
You know a lot of people, Jason. I don't know that
I'm
many.
50.
Yeah. I'm 46.
Like Miles Partain comes up to me, how do you know all these people, Jason? And I'm like, Miles, how old are you,
You're
dude?
an extreme extrovert,
how old are you, you little pup, dude?
That kid is such an...
You know what I told him? And he doesn't remember this, but I said, you're 18 right now. I said, picture how much volleyball you're going to play by the time you turn 50. How much you're going to coach, how much you're going to teach young minds, or how many championships you're going to win by the time you turn 50. Yeah. Now think about that long-ass road when you turn 50, what you're going to do. Now take all of those things, now take a look at me. Now look back at me. And that's how. So, hey, fun thing before we go.
Sure.
We're going to talk about, I posted on, someone posted on Volleyball Coaches and Trainer, what's your red card or yellow card story? So I tried to duplicate that. Nobody's biting. Nobody has the balls to actually bite. I put it on Instagram. Okay. Tell me your bizarre yellow card. Just like, okay, that's different. That came out of nowhere, right?
Like I said, all I knew, there was 2 in the GCU Stanford game. And I don't even know what happened. The ref was fired up at the coach did something and
he's fired up.
I think the coach got 2 yellow cards that game. I think, unless it was a player and then so maybe it was a player and then a coach. But there were 2 yellow cards issued during that game.
Wow, dude.
Yeah. So
when I played overseas, I'd ration them out.
Yeah.
I made sure I never got 2
I was never
in the same set.
I was never going to get a
I got 3 cards in a 5-set game, but I made sure they were different sets.
There
and it didn't cost any points or cost a side out. So here's a bizarre yellow card, but it was kind of self-imposed. I'm assistant coaching John Jay. My friend took this absolutely, I was going to say terrible job, but I'll just say challenging.
Okay.
Trying to build a men's program that's never had a winning season, trying to build a women's program that's never had a winning season. And then he left me the keys of the car. And I was moving to California, but so I was the interim coach.
Okay.
And eventually, their women's team had their first winning season, and their first home playoff game in the history of their program. So, but I got all the credit for something that he built. His name is Ida Mataye. So, I'm assisting him at Baruch's Men's College. So they had this guy who takes like this. My least favorite thing, Wendy, this long ass ritual just to fucking get the serve. Just serve. Just
Don't you only get
the
8?
whistle's blown,
You only
right?
get 8 seconds.
The guy's bouncing the ball, holds it out there for like 100 minutes. Eventually tosses it, eventually serves, and I'm like, you're gonna make them change the rules because they think the game is too slow. So they're gonna make like carry legal on third hit or something. They're gonna make some stupid rule to speed up the game because assholes like you can't just
10
serve.
minutes,
You know. But then I'm like, no. Well, it's not on the kid. You have 8 seconds to serve. This gotta be. When I played, it was 5 seconds.
Oh.
It was 5 because the innovation of the jump serve wasn't a thing.
Yeah, right.
When you just serve right away if you jump serve.
Yeah.
So what I did was that we had our team whisper count. The ref would blow the whistle. We went 1, 2, 3, 4, and then everyone in the gym 5, 6, so like whisper, and then finally the down ref blows the whistle and gives he's like yellow card that entire team. And I said, so I'm getting a yellow card for you not doing your job. And he's like, do you want a red? I said, yeah, give me a red. So he gives me a red. And I'm like, sure. He says, you want another one? I'm like, yeah. And my coach and I'm an assistant coach. And I'm so stupid because assistant coaches aren't supposed to speak,
right.
you know? And, you know, my boy, who I'm, you know, we're supposed to be working together. I'm supposed to be helping him. He's like, okay, you made your point, Jason. I'm like, I'm sorry. So that was.
You're just reminding me of Hoosiers.
Yeah.
But do you remember Gene Hackman and Hoosiers when he wants to be thrown out of the game so Dennis Hopper can coach because he's coming back from the alcoholic binge and he wants to build his confidence and he's like, no, throw me out.
But sometimes you need a yellow or a red and your team starts playing.
Yeah.
You know, I was coaching John Jay women's team played Lehman College in the Bronx, and the head referee, like the top ref, and like the head coach of Lehman, they're Creole players. They play together. So I just felt like I wasn't being treated right because this guy's Elvis, and I was never a part of that crew, never wanted to be a part of that crew. So I was always the misfit or the outcast. And because I was a misfit, they thought I didn't know what I was doing. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So I remember getting a yellow card on the top ref, and my girlfriend, who's an introvert, if you could picture this as a movie, you know how like
she's going.
No, but you know the cinematography, right? The background's blurry, but the ref is crystal clear, and then they make the ref blurry and the background crystal clear.
Yeah.
So I had this cinematic image where like you saw him crystal clear, and then he blurred, and then the crowd, she's behind the ref, and she goes, read me.
You're like,
quiet ass Kelly, and I just went like this, and then the ref goes, and I go, and he's like, and I go, you know, like I'm not like, because she was behind him. The ref thought I was smiling at him. I went, and then I went, like, okay, snap back.
Yeah.
So that was a bizarre one.
Yeah,
but
I don't have a good yellow card story.
And last but not least, the most you can get away with. I should do a top 5 for this. The most you can get away with without getting a red was teams out of rotation. Let's call it row 3. Yeah. Basically, the setter serves, the outside hitter, right, follows the setter. Mm-hmm. And then the outside hitter, when the setter pushes up the oppo, right, and you stack them all, sometimes the setter overlaps with the person that just serves. And that's the probably the most likely call for out of rotation, easiest call for out of rotation in volleyball. And I'm trying to get the down ref's attention. I'm like, they're out of rotation. So they get another point. I'm like, they're out of rotation. I said, can we, I go to the coach, right? And I'm like, can we please let them know? I don't want the point. I just want them to move.
Yeah.
So the top ref sees me talking, doesn't hear the conversation. I talk with my hands, so it looks like
Me too.
I'm getting all Eminem with him. You know, palms are sweaty, knees are weak, palms are heady. So he pulls a yellow card on me, and I'm like, yellow card? May I ask why? You know, you don't just do yellow cards, you know. And he's like, misconduct. And I went, misconduct? I said, no. I said, why don't you draw a joker on that card and put it in your back pocket where it belongs? That's misconduct. I said, that's misconduct. And I said, go ahead and give me a red. Go ahead, give me a red. And and everybody, my assistant coach is like, all right, cool. That's it. Yeah. So, and I'm like, I said, you're screwing us. I'm like, you see this? And I went like this. I said, this is us, you know? And I couldn't believe, psychologically, I was just trying to get the red.
Yeah.
So my team could play. I knew everyone thought I was this out of control gangster, and sometimes you play the part so well that they think you are. But really, I was just trying to get a red, and I guess because he was either afraid of me, or because he's reffed so many of my games, like, I know what you're doing and you're not gonna get it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, I'm the coach. I want you to give me
Yes.
And I told him, I said, draw a joker on that thing and put it in your back pocket, which I thought that was more than enough.
Yeah.
I thought I got it. And he never did it, And I'm like, what do I have to come up and shake that ladder back and forth until you fall off? So this is the part you don't know about me. This is the Jason I used to be. The Jason you see right now, indoor.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there and my legs are folded.
Yeah, very self-regulated.
You only hear me say something. Yeah. The best way to beat me is if I start talking to my team, we're probably losing. Because half the time, there's nothing I'm going to say to my team that we didn't already practice.
Yeah.
But because I think the more that they're facing forward, the less they're looking back and forth.
Agreed.
It's a coaching style, right?
Yeah.
Right, right,
sure.
Because you've seen enough volleyball. You've seen sideline coaches, free, go, go, free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worse if they're looking at the parent though than the coach. Just gotta say it. Yeah.
When do we almost hit 2 hours?
We always do.
And you have to be starving now.
Well, I gotta go meet my mom for lunch. She's in town, so I'm going to the Source, Hermosa Beach, one of my favorite spots. Gotta go meet my mom in like 15 minutes.
Oh my God, I want to come.
You want to come meet my mom?
I do. I want to come say hi.
Yeah.
At least.
Tonight's
pizza night, so what I'm doing is I'm eating something small now. I'm eating something small at 3:00, and then I'm a dog into some. I don't know.
Pizza night's good.
Mickey's,
I don't know
guys, Hermosa Beach, your last bastion of hope. Mickey's Delicatessen has a pizza oven in the back.
Yeah.
They have the same sauce recipe as Paisanos. Paisanos is the best pizza by the slice, but pizza by the pie is Mickey's Delicatessen.
Yeah.
On 2nd Street in Hermosa Ave. So
such a Mickey.
And that's all we got, man. Hey, I just wanted to share some yellow card stories, and you fail. Next time you come, you bet.
Okay.
Hey, I want to hear it.
I'm gonna have to work on my game.
Okay. Yes. Because you've been to too many games. You've been to too many games. If you never played the sport in your life, and you do play the sport,
right?
The games that you came to support your kids.
Oh yeah.
Don't tell me it's such a.
But you get better over time, not worse. The first time I watched my kids play, I was like, oh, get middle blocker, get out of the way. Like then you start to get better at it. You're just like, hey, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. So.
Oh man. Yeah. So Wendy, all right, we're out of here, but you need to plug in the Optimist Journal. For the people listening to this live, sorry, this is going to get torn down, and I'm going to put up edited video that actually has your face
I don't know how you
blurry.
do everything you do,
your
but
face is not
I
blurry.
like showing up and talking, so I appreciate everything you do.
Dude, Wendy, you're practically a co-host now.
It's so fun.
That's right?
I live for good conversation. So.
Yeah, and I'm looking for, me and you got to get together sometime, definitely after first week of June.
Yeah.
Maybe before, but if it happens after, because the things that we have planned and have going on would have already transpired. I don't need to do it before because I don't need to do a promotional thing. There already we have people that are handling that machine.
Yeah, right.
So
it's all gonna come.
Give me a couple of sentences about how to reach you on the Optimist Journal, what the Optimist Journal is about, and we plug in.
The Optimist Journal is about, the game of life. It's what we learn to build better self-awareness as people, the struggles that we go through and how we turn them into strengths. And I write about it every week. It's more and more, it's becoming a volleyball perspective, and I've got a great project in the works that if you're a volleyball fan, it's going to knock your socks off. So you can find me at theoptimistjournal.com. On Instagram, I am Wendy Jones _ the Optimist. And there's so much good volleyball content on there right now. I'm working with Anthony Moore, incredible photographer and videographer, that approached me on the beach in February and said, I love your words. I got a ton of content. What do you say we put it together? I was all about it. So it's been really fun. There's some good stuff coming.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
There are some things I've been waiting all my life to do that are going to happen in the next few months.
I love that.
And in 2022, I only have one thing to say. I heart volleyball. I heart is the app function that's deals with sports, but I heart volleyball. Not allowed to talk about too much of that now, but let's just say it's going to involve live streaming 20 matches from 20 different countries at the same time. 5 of them professionally, and just like, yes.
So fun.
Ghana's on board, Uganda's on board, Italy's on board.
Telling you.
I got love on the East, bi-coastal love.
Great.
So
yeah.
Yeah. Oof. All right, guys.
Stuff.
Yep. So Wendy, anything you want to say to the fans before we leave?
No, thanks for having me. I'm always up for a good chat, so just keep it coming.
Nice. Okay, guys. Wendy may love you, but I can't stand you. In fact, I'm hungry. I'm already fat, and I'm incapable of BS, so I'm out, okay? For all of you at home, for all of you on your iPad, for all of you on your iPhone, it's at the source, at the restaurant, waiting for your daughter to come join you. For all of you on your Droid, for all of you on your desktop, who runs the world? Old school. From Wendy Jones of the Optimist Journal, I'm Jason DeBiz. This is episode 83 of the Option Podcast. We're out. Come check out the Option Podcast on optionvb.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify, and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.
So good.